Most people spend their entire lives ignoring the small things, the tiny decisions, the overlooked details, the choices that look too insignificant to matter. They think freedom comes from the big wins, the promotions, the windfalls, the once in a lifetime opportunities. But history shows the opposite. The people who build unshakable wealth and sovereignty aren't the ones who chase big moments, they're the ones who recognize that the smallest units hold the greatest power. And in money, well, that smallest unit is called a Satoshi, a single fraction of Bitcoin, and the digital dust most people laugh at, scroll past, or dismiss as not worth it. Now that dismissal will be the regret of their lifetime, because what looks insignificant today will decide who is sovereign and who is enslaved tomorrow. And once you see what sats really are, you'll never ignore them again. See, here's the paradox. Almost everyone still measures Bitcoin in whole coins. How can I buy a Bitcoin when it's over $100,000? I miss the boat. I'll wait until it crashes. Now that mindset is already outdated, because Bitcoin isn't about the whole coin. It's about the 100 million Satoshis inside each one. So think about it. Nobody complains that they can't afford an ounce of gold. They buy it in grams. Nobody refuses to invest in real estate because they can't buy a skyscraper. They buy shares of REITs. But when it comes to Bitcoin, the world is stuck in a mental trap. If they can't afford a full coin, they think it's too late. But that trap will cost 99% of people their financial sovereignty. Because by the time that they realise that the game is about stacking sats and not chasing coins, the opportunity will be gone. See, every sat is more than a number. It's a packet of time, energy, and sovereignty. And when you own a sat, you own a piece of the hardest money humanity has ever created. A piece that can't be diluted, seized, or debased. And unlike the dollar, which loses value each and every year, a sat can only gain power over time. Now, not because it goes up, but because the system around it collapses. Fiat inflates, sats don't. Fiat erodes, sats preserve. And fiat is borrowed time where sats are stored time. And here's the kicker. The earlier you recognize the truth, the more future you get to protect. See, imagine it's the year 2040. The average person looks back at the last 2 decades and sees nothing but regret. They remember when sats cost less than a cent. They remember when buying 1,000,000 sats was cheaper than a new iPhone. And they remember laughing at the stack sats crowd while they scrolled Instagram. And then they realise the people who took sats seriously built lifetimes of freedoms. And the ones who ignored them, well, they're still trading hours for melting paychecks, still trapped in the system they swore was safe. See, this isn't hypothetical. It's the same regret loop that happened with gold in the 1970s, with internet domains in the 1990s, and with Bitcoin itself in the 2010s. So the pattern is clear. The smallest bets that look like jokes in the moment become the dividing line between the sovereign and the stuck. So let's go ahead and make this real. In 2010, 1 Bitcoin bought you 2 pizzas. Today, those 2 pizzas would be worth over $100,000. In 1995, people dismissed the idea of owning a website domain for $10. But today, those domains are worth millions. And in ancient Rome, people ignored the silver content of coins until inflation wiped them out. So the story repeats. The crowd ignores the signal because it looks too small to matter. Now sats are today's signal, and 99% of people are too distracted to notice. So why do people ignore sats? Well, because humans are wired to undervalue what they can't immediately use. We want visible impact, instant gratification, but sovereignty doesn't come from instant gratification. It comes from delayed recognition. So owning sats isn't about flexing wealth today, it's about preserving options tomorrow. Just in the same way that working out today doesn't give you instant health, it compounds over years. And the same way that reading one page a day doesn't change your life instantly, but over years it rewires your brain. So sats are the financial equivalent of those habits. Tiny, almost invisible, until they suddenly change everything. So think of it like this. You buy a $5 coffee, no big deal, and it's forgettable by tomorrow. Or you buy 4,400 sats, also $5, give or take. Today it feels meaningless. You can't even spend it. It's just digital dust in a wallet. But fast forward 20 years. That coffee, well, the coffee is long gone. But those sats, well, they might cover a year of groceries. So one forgettable decision compounded into sovereignty. The other dissolved into nothing. And that's the fork in the road 99% of people are missing every single day. So picture the year 2035. Governments have launched their own central bank digital currencies. Every transaction is tracked, traced, and taxed in real time. Your money works like a permission slip shutting off if you step out of line. Now most people will shrug and comply because they never bothered to stack sats. But a small group, well, the ones who took sats seriously when they were still cheap, will be living outside the cage. And that's why their wealth will be portable. Their time will be preserved. Their sovereignty will be untouchable. And that future isn't sci-fi, it's already forming. And sats are the ticket out. So here's the bigger point. Sats aren't just about money. They're about psychology. See, when you start stacking sats, you stop thinking like a victim of inflation. And you stop asking, how can I outpace the system? And you start asking, why am I still playing their game at all? And that's the shift 99% of people will regret missing. Because the moment you recognise sats as sovereignty and not speculation, your entire life strategy changes. See, every era has a regret of filter. In the 1800s, it was ignoring the railroads. In the 1900s, it was ignoring electricity, cars, and the internet. And in the 2000s, it was ignoring Bitcoin itself. Now, in the 2020s, the regret filter is sats, and 99% of people will regret ignoring them. But the 1% who act will look back and wonder why it was even controversial. So here's the choice in front of you. You can dismiss sats as too small to matter. You can keep waiting for the right time. You can join 99% in their decade of regret, or you can see what almost nobody sees yet. That sovereignty starts small, that freedom is divisible, and that the unit that changes your future isn't the whole coin, it's the sat. Because in the end, the smallest decision you make today will become the biggest difference in the life you live tomorrow. So stack sats, protect your time, escape the regret. Because the window is still open, but not for long. Now, I just quickly want to chuck this in here as well, just in case you want to come and check it out. Now, this is my ebook, and it's called They Print, You Lose. Now, if you do come and check it out, and if you want the physical copies over on Amazon, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll find the links for it just here. Now, I do quickly just want to chuck this disclaimer in here as well, and I highly suggest just pausing the video and having a little read. Now, if you've made it this far, and if you're looking for something else to watch, then click right here and have a watch of this.